there comes a point in every timeline when something just that awesome becomes something so celebrated that it becomes a long-running franchise. But it's not every day you see that franchise becoming a movie franchise of all things. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the start of our MCU commentaries. Unless you've been living under a rock, you likely have heard of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The universe of the superheroes galore has crossovers galore, and used to have the most ambitious crossover of all time until Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yeah, we're still riding that
wave. I'm gonna have to agree with Teo. You should have started with the Legend. There was an idea.
Well, anyway, for the kids in the audience
I'm saving that for later, for the obvious commentary.
For the kids who don't know, in the audience who don't know about this, basically, well, this was made right before the Disney purchase. But basically, around this time, Marvel's movie rights were scattered along a shit ton of companies. The one you more familiar more with is Fox holding the Mutants, Fantastic Four, and by the time of this movie, Daredevil. And Sony very sticking to Spider-Man. But there were other things like Universal with Hulk, Lionsgate with Man-Thing for some reason.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
And in this case, Paramount with Iron Man.
Yep, that's right. Originally, Paramount were the ones driving the Cinematic Universe bus. And, of course, let's not forget Kevin Feige, who actually did not start with the MCU. He actually started off as a consultant for the X-Men films. Go figure.
Ironic. Well,
Kevin Feige started out in... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Kevin Feige is actually a very old-school guy in terms of corporate type of guy, in the sense that he went up the ladder. Like, he started from the bottom, and he just, like a producer here, a consultant there.
How sorry do you think Fox is?
Assistant producer here, and eventually, by the time Disney bought Marvel and started up Marvel Studios, they needed someone to be properly and creatively in charge. Someone who actually knew the ropes. And Kevin Feige offered. And he said, "Don't worry, I know, I'm a big fan myself." So, 10 years later, here we are, the most profitable movie franchise in history.
Yep.
There you go.
Now, in case you don't know, by around this time, Iron Man was not completely obscure as a Marvel character, but he was definitely not recognized by the most popular masses. He had his own cartoon in the 90s and guest starred in other shows like the Spider-Man cartoon here and there.
But Tio, what about a starring role in the Civil War comic? That really got him on the map with people.
Totally. But anyway, this was the movie that basically relaunched the character and made him know to everyone.
True, yeah. Before this movie, he was either not really well liked or declining in popularity. After this movie, people consider him, well, some people consider him the number 2 Marvel guy because, of course, Spidey's still number 1.
To be fair, when it comes to popularity, I guess number 3, because number 1 and 2 are still reserved to Spider-Man and Wolverine, because...
Yeah, but at the time we didn't have the rights, sadly. So.
Obvious. No, I mean in general, when it comes to... When you ask a person about, Marvel character, and then, that's the first 3 that pop up. But anyway, yeah, this basically movie made in 2008, okay?
Yes.
Who was the director, Jova?
Jon Favreau.
Yes, Jon Favreau. You remember him from classics like the recent Jungle Book movie.
And starring, obviously, Robert Downey Jr., which basically propelled Furby's career.
And he was also that clown in Seinfeld where he did that Bozo the Clown figure with George Costanza. You're hanging on to a clown from the 60s, man!
Anyway. Robert Downey Jr. will also get a big break thanks to the Ben Stiller hit Tropic Thunder. And this would be his next
soon enough, he would have gone to do the Sherlock Holmes Guy Ritchie movies. But anyway, let's not beat around the bush.
Yes.
Start at the Paramount logo. That's right, the Paramount logo, not the Disney logo, not the Marvel Studios logo. You're probably
these movies usually don't.
This is way back.
Well, these movies even today still don't have the Disney logo, just for the sake of because when people think Disney, they don't associate it with this. So anyway,
you'd be shocked, especially since we now have the Avengers over at Epcot Studios to an extent. The Guardians of the Galaxy.
All right, go ahead, Joe. Count us in.
3, 2, 1, click. But yeah, funny you mentioned that, Teal. The MCU did a lot of popularity for Marvel heroes across the board. Like, basically, go back to Marvel Alliance 2, and you'll see that such names like Doctor Strange and Black Panther are listed as C-tier stuff. Basically, and War Machine.
Doctor Strange was very obscure before this.
And Black Panther. Oh, poor Black Panther.
That's interesting, and that's one of the cool things because Kevin Feige in particular is a huge fan of Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange has always been one of the passion projects of his, which is why it took a while because he wanted to make sure he would find the right director.
That said, admittedly, the MCU way doesn't always do the best for everyone. Like, hey, if you didn't know the Inhumans before, by God, hope they get a reboot in the MCU because their current MCU representation is terrible.
Jova, it's not a good time to mention that we're getting killed in the actual comics.
This is the first movie of Phase 1. Yes, the MCU is divided in phases. At the time of this recording, at the time of this recording, Phase 3 ended with Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was awesome, by the way.
Wait,
it ends with the next Avengers movie.
Oh, it does?
Year.
Yeah.
Oh, it does? I thought that was the beginning of Phase 4.
Nope.
Whatever. All right, then.
And yes.
Anyway, this is our protagonist, Anthony, or more referred colloquially, Tony Stark.
Who is thankfully not an excessive drinker here.
Well, even though there's at least some major...
No, Jova, they're saving it for the sequel.
Which, funny you say that, because that's actually on TV right now in the UK.
Anyway, in case you don't know, the origin story of Tony Stark has always been tied to the war. So basically, Marvel Studios, since they always update a bit of their continuity when it comes to a couple of heroes, in case of Iron Man, they decided to update depending on the major war that were topical around the time. At first it was the World War II, obviously Golden Age and everything. Then it was the Vietnam War in the Bronze Age and everything. And now instead, which is more contemporary, the Afghanistan War.
Funny thing though, when it came to Captain America, they kept him in World War II and just rebooted it so that he was a soldier frozen through time.
Yeah. That's different because Captain America's origin story is incredibly tied to that particular period in time.
It iconic,
it wouldn't really make any sense to set it otherwise. I mean, it worked with Wonder Woman, the movie. I mean, but Cap is way more tied to the time period than Wonder Woman is.
Also, I miss when photos were done like that instead of people hanging around with selfie sticks.
So yeah, Tony Stark is a weapons manufacturer. He's the owner of Stark Industries, which is one of the most, if not, as far as the Marvel Universe is concerned, the biggest weapons manufacturing company in the world.
Well, that's known to the public eye.
Okay, fine, whatever. And now look at that. Tony is for the first time in person observing what
the effect of war.
The seeds he sowed.
Yep, it's the ultimate irony. A person who profits off of war getting caught in the middle of war. Oh, but the irony has just begun, folks. There's a missile.
Hello.
From Stark Industries.
Irony!
It's not even the last time it's gonna happen for the MCU. These particular actions will haunt Tony for a long time.
So sometimes I think to myself, how the heck did I get here?
So even with the bulletproof vest, the shrapnel were too much.
Allow me to flashback and tell you my life story.
Whoosh.
Not yet.
Vino habla español.
Teo, I don't think whatever.
Iron.
Goody.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh wait, sorry, we're not there yet.
36 hours early.
Billionaire, playboy. Oh wait, not yet.
Are these? Oh, okay.
So yeah, Tony is of course the son of two parents, one of which being Howard Stark.
Howard Stark, which will play a bigger role in Captain America: First Avenger.
Oh.
Yep, they died in a car accident.
Yeah, keep that in mind for a later movie.
Yep.
That's one thing to remember, folks. Treat the MCU film series like a TV
The MCU
series.
will remember its continuity, I assure you.
Yep.
So, of course, he works with Jebediah Stone, played by Jeff Bridges, who is a hoot in this role, if I may say so.
Rolling Stone.
Well, makes sense considering the
popularity and
situation.
stuff.
Well, at least they're not giving him the Nobel Peace Prize for this.
Oh, hi, Terrence Howard. Jova, take us away.
You know what? Let's save that for a later time because, well...
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Now,
the
let's
Oscar-
see our prodigy arrive here.
And the
center
Oscar
stage,
goes
and
to
he's not there.
Robert Oh, okay.
Is that a PlayStation Move controller he's holding?
Well, let's see. Try squeezing the ball.
Caesar's Palace.
Oh yeah, we're in Las Vegas.
So yeah, this is Jeff Bridges playing
Jebediah
what's it?
Stone.
That's it.
Basically, since Tony Stark is now technically the leader of this rightful CEO of Stark Enterprise, he's acting more like the figure in these kind of cases where he cannot be present for different reasons.
Which is probably more often than not to the point where you might think he is actually Tony Stark. Don't worry, he's here to reassure us he's not. Yes, he's always working.
Totally.
In one way or another.
Now, Shiri, if I remember correctly, Tony is actually your favorite Marvel character.
Mm-hmm.
Tony is, of course, the jerk with a heart of gold.
Gay joke! Yay!
He's the lovable douchebag, is what he is.
And of course, he drives his friend Rhodey James crazy. Rhodey here is played by Terrence Howard. As for those of you who may not recognize Terrence
that's right.
Howard,
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
As you'll notice also there, Jon Favreau, aside from being the director, he also plays Hoppy, aka Tony's personal assistant.
Yep.
He'll show up a little. Well. Of all things, of Vanity Fair. Wah wah. You're not Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I wish I could tell him.
Yeah, hindsight's a bitch.
Yeah, it really is.
That's why you let it happen.
Also, what a classy person. Tony is completely turning the interview into an excuse of trying to bang these
I love that.
journalists.
That's one of my favorite lines in the movie.
Oh.
Peace means having a bigger stick than the other guy.
Yeah. And yes, he's not kidding when he said his father helped defeat the Nazis. Oh boy.
Yep.
Well, when we get to the first Captain America movie, we'll get into that.
Also, way to quote Teddy Roosevelt in speaking softly but carrying a big stick.
Walk softly and carry a big and it works.
Somehow.
Why not?
Well, I guess the best way to make
It's
sure
Robert
you
Downey
don't...
Jr. too. So anyway, yeah, like I love. Of course, obviously, I love Tony as much as the next guy, but my personal favorite Marvel character is Captain America.
I have a few favorites.
Same.
Me personally, I love him because he's just that good old-fashioned, simple type of superhero. I have a soft spot for those.
Without a doubt.
There we go. The yeah,
Malibu,
in Malibu.
California.
So, where's Schwarzenegger?
Somewhere. He's probably off helping out with...
I mean, these were the years he was still governing,
In fact,
right?
that's actually one of the That's actually one of my favorite things about the MCU's popularity and success. Because a lot of people some people would try to argue that modern audiences and kids and stuff don't like the prototypical simple goody two shoes superhero, and the success of the Captain America movies proves them wrong. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Oh. Hi,
I mean-
Jarvis.
I mean, some people can't seem to grasp that there is a reason that Superman is still ranked as #1 on the superheroes list when he's written properly. You know,
By DC trying to prove them wrong all and over and over.
yeah.
Hi, Pepper.
Watch our BVS commentary for my thoughts on that, or rather, listen to. So yeah, this is Pepper Potts. She's Tony's secretary.
Best job in the world.
Well, she's not more than that, as we'll see.
Also, nice music choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a great job.
If
the
there's one
music
thing
choice.
that's often a theme with a lot of MCU films, it's that each one has a certain musical style layered underneath the score, many of which are thematic. Iron Man's is more of a rock and roll sort of stuff.
Because of the obvious song. Even
makes
though
sense.
the actual song does not refer to the Iron Man character, but to someone else.
It's such a shame they didn't remix the I Am Iron Man theme.
It's it depends on the movie. Like for First Avenger, obviously they went for the 1940s style of symphonic score. You know,
To the point where we even have a song done by Alan Menken.
yeah, done in the style of the propaganda songs from back in the day during World War II.
Nah, you think?
By 30 of them.
We spared no expenses too.
Yes. Oh.
Nice talk.
Also, product placement. Yay. Well, to be fair, car product placement is probably the easiest thing to do in a movie, so...
Mhm.
Poor Ron.
Oh, Rhodey, you put up with so much. I'd say your rewards would be aplenty, but
In no time, Trevor.
yeah. Oh, there's the perfect moment to crack that nut.
He doesn't get paid enough.
Both in universe and out of universe. Look, Tony, if you keep treating me like this, heaven knows how long it'll go before I become a deranged ex-military personnel who's a part of some whack job team with Arnold Schwarzenegger where we're picking each other off.
Yay, sake. Yay!
Hot, oh boy.
Now it's a party.
I would not want to get wasted at that altitude.
Do tell.
Because
Pole dancing.
Okay,
because
is this in
you
the
get so
stewardess...
drunk that you want to open the door and jump off the plane. I don't know.
I have to wonder, was it in the stewardess's contract that that would be part of the job?
Most likely.
Must pay well.
Well, yeah.
Then again, I guess at that
It's
altitude...
a private jet, so yeah.
True. It is a private jet, so I guess at that altitude they don't have to worry about their dignity being
This
ruined.
is not General Ross, for the sake of...
And now, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves.
Yeah, one of the trailer shots, I think.
Not just that. America, fuck yeah.
America.
See?
The dramatic music demands our attention. A giant wall of
It's
fire.
beautiful.
And an animated GIF is born.
Yep.
The first of many.
Let's toast. Why not?
A toast to all of the
peace.
bombs.
To peace.
Yeah.
What about some food, though?
Please don't let me show Jeff Bridges naked ever again.
Oh, Obadiah.
Yeah, good question.
Maybe Tony bought them for him for a reason.
And there you go. Ironically, with this, Tony is saving Roddy's life.
Yep. And this is how we got to where we were.
Jesus.
Did I mention that becoming a hero in the MCU often requires some suffering?
A lot, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say some suffering.
Surprisingly enough, Peter Parker in the MCU has not had that much suffering for an origin story.
Well, he technically didn't get an origin story, technically speaking. So I guess we got to skip.
Oh god, one of those, yeah. They're not pleasant.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm alive. And I can already tell this hopefully shouldn't be as gruesome a time as that tropical venture with Ben Stiller and Jack Black. Oh, hi, Iroh.
Is that Mako?
No.
No, Theo. It's
He's
the actor
replaced.
who played Ito in the last Airbender movie.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Before he went to Last Airbender, he was in the MCU.
Unfortunately, well, let's just say his character won't last long in this universe.
Nope.
So as a result, he had to rely on Shyamalan for the rest of his career, and well, we all know how that turned out.
Maybe. That thing is keeping him alive.
Mm-hmm.
Not roll credits. Yep.
Smile, you're on camera. Never mind, maybe they are doing the whole drunk Tony thing.
Oh, come on, no transistors. Hey, shut up in there, will ya? Yep.
I'm a big fan. Can I have an autograph?
Thank you for doing my work for me.
haven't felt this pressure since the last time my school partner pressured me into making a project for them.
Yeah, that's not an acceptable answer.
There is no choice, really.
Uh, So, question: who saw these in theaters, by the way?
I didn't. I'll admit I
I
wasn't
didn't.
that much aware of stuff like this. And, I'd heard of Iron Man and whatnot, but it didn't really catch my eye that much. I wasn't really on the big Iron Man train. Ironically,
I was a big
what
fan of the Iron Man cartoon in the 90s, so I was looking forward to seeing how this movie would turn out, and it turned out pretty great.
Ironically, what did get me to see this movie eventually was when me and my mom saw Incredible Hulk 2008, done by Universal Pictures, and it turned out that
Yeah.
that movie was actually a sequel to this because Tony shows up in one of the post-movie scenes. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder, did Paramount and Universal have their own plans before Disney came on board? It
My
really
guess is,
boggles the
Jova, it was
mind.
Kevin. My guess is, Jova, the one thing in common those two movies had was Kevin Feige being involved. My guess is that's Kevin Feige's work right there.
So wouldn't that have been something, though? Instead of it all being united under Disney, imagine if it had been all collaborations between studios.
Yeah, I guess was kind of the idea.
Guess the Disney buyout made some stuff easier, except for the fact that we will not get a solo Hulk movie until
At
Disney
least
and
for the
Universal
time
go to
being.
an agreement. But hey, if it's any consolation, Thor Ragnarok is the best Hulk movie we've gotten.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Yeah, I find it interesting that they were able to strike a deal with Sony surprisingly easily. And Universal hasn't made a Hulk movie in 10 years at the time of this recording, so you'd think Universal would be an easy.
I think they have
Universal doesn't seem like they care anymore, so
I
you'd
think
think
they
it'd
have
be
a
easy
different
because
to
they
type
have
of
publish.
contract, Pedro.
They have also Pedro. Universal has royalties on their theme park, which has a Marvel section.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, again, different type of contract and everything.
And also, yes, Tio, just to say, yes, the rides at the Marvel part of Universal do have their own canonical universe as well. Are you even surprised at that?
I'm not sure.
So, Tony is tasked with making a replication of the Jericho Project, lest he be killed, most brutally.
Not just that, they said, oh no, the terrorists said that if he completed, he will set it free, but neither Tony nor the other guy believe it for a sec.
Define completing, because for all we know, they'll probably want him to make more. Oh, they call themselves the Ten
About
Rings.
the 10 rings.
Cute.
Some foreshadowing for something.
Basically, in comics, one of Iron Man's greatest foes is...
The Mandarin.
Yep, a
Basically
man who has 10
standing
different
for...
rings, all with different abilities.
Now, keep in mind, this is basically, it was a stand-in because a very popular villain in literature is called Fu Manchu, which is the stereotypical evil Chinese guy with big mustache and everything. But since there are some royalties over the name, Marvel had to use a different kind of guy, and the Mandarin was born as a result.
Some people also theorize that this is back when they were trying to be quote-unquote more realistic, so they didn't want to go full on with the Mandarin yet.
I guess. To be fair, yeah, when it comes to superhero movies, this is very well grounded. It doesn't, outside of the proper Iron Man suit and everything, there's not too much fantastical things going on.
Fittingly enough, the Batman of the MCU, until later
Yeah.
ventures. So yeah, this man's name is Yinsen.
About time. So basically, yeah, we're using this time to build something a bit more powerful than that magnet that Tony's having.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Nope. Which is a lot. Yeah.
How big, though? I'm thinking
How about
cross-franchise
a
big.
suit? A
It's-
power armor, basically.
The blueprints have cleverly hidden within multiple layers of paper, all a bit on
Yep.
a different shade.
Again, just like Da Vinci, foreshadowed.
Uh-huh.
No. Okay.
Of course, a bit of maintenance needed on that chest magnet.
Yeah. Backgammon. For sure, why not? Forgot actually how to play it. I used
Yeah.
to. Totally.
Optimistic bloke.
Yeah.
Tony's not always biggest on opening up, to say the least, despite his personality.
Yeah.
Considering
Yeah.
later movies, he should probably open up a bit more.
Yeah.
Well, sure. There is that. There is the one of my favorite jokes in Iron Man 3 is while he's narrating the movie, and then the post-credit scene. It's apparently him basically opening up to Bruce,
Yeah.
and Bruce is like, "I'm sorry, Tony. I don't have the temperament." Hmm? I'm sorry. Could you start again, Tony?
All right. Who did the score for this movie?
Let me check.
I think it was Brian Tyler.
Ravin Javadi.
Oh, okay.
Let me check what else he did. Oh, he composed for Game of Thrones.
Ah, nice.
Wait. Was it Ryman Jowdy you meant?
Well, maybe I pronounced it wrong. Let me give you the name.
Go ahead and because yeah, if I remember correctly, wasn't that the composer of? Yeah. I know him. He also was the composer of Person of Interest.
So yeah.
He's also the composer of Westworld.
Pacific Rim.
Not just that, but basically, he's Jonathan Nolan's go-to composer apparently.
Yeah. However, yeah, the terrorists are not that stupid.
Just relax. Think of it like a 5-star resort where you have to do that every time we enter.
Pretentious narration. True. To be fair, though, it wasn't really an empire built as a civilization.
I'm sure you're gonna be a big bad villain that'll last for centuries, for the names
Yeah.
of history.
Oh yeah, If I forgot, like, didn't we already pass the Stan Lee cameo?
No,
No.
Oh, okay. Is it a later? Because I
It's
remember
later.
what the,
I forget where it is in this movie.
I remember how it is. It's just that I don't remember its exact place in the movie.
I
No,
think
no,
it's
no,
more
it's later,
so
I think.
around the halfway point.
All right then.
Also, Jova, what if the plot twist is that these terrorists turn out to be Stiltmen in the future?
Maybe.
In case you don't know, Stiltman is essentially universally regarded by all Marvel fans as the worst Marvel supervillain. Basically, he has a power, so his only power is stretching his legs a bit.
Okay.
Not all his limbs, literally just his legs. Forget.
Basically, it's used for comedy purposes.
Well, Tev could be worse. He could be Captain Underpants.
Oh, no. Captain Underpants has some pretty awesome powers, starting with the third book. Wow, that's just peachy.
Yep. Basically, this means they just need to speed things up.
Immensely.
Yep. There you go.
Funnily enough, not too long before this, I recall there was also an animated version of Iron Man's origin story made as a direct-to-video movie.
I think so. Let me check. Hmm. It's the equivalent of Home Alone. Boom!
Thought I'd exit with a bang.
Unfortunately, this means we have no more time.
Yep, it is now or never.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he have to use Windows Vista?
You're just asking to die.
Come on. No.
Tony. You're gonna learn you're gonna learn a lot from these ventures that sticking to the plan does not always work.
Nope.
No matter
Also,
how
don't shoot the
much...
gun before you actually reach the people.
Well, the guy is clearly not used to use a gun.
I guess he's also trying to draw them away, too.
Yeah, again,
Yeah,
buying
yeah,
some
okay.
time. Star Wars reference, I guess.
Hello.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's right. Disney were also in the methods of getting Star Wars at the time too, so probably. Boo.
There you go, the Mark 1 armor.
Yep. Believe it or not, this actually used to be the armor that he would regularly go out in, way back in the golden age of comics.
Yeah,
Although it was painted gold.
because fancy.
Think of it like Jericho, portable edition.
Yep.
That's gonna leave a mark.
Anyway, no, Jove, I checked. The only other major Iron Man movie that I found is part of the Marvel Animated Features, a series of direct-to-video animated movies made by MLG Productions.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. There's one that
Well,
covers...
the only one that I've seen is the Invincible Iron Man. It's not an origin story.
Actually, no, I'm pretty sure that is an origin story.
In the Invincible Iron Man, Tony Stark, leader manufacturer, finds a lost Chinese city where he accidentally unleashes an evil, powerful force. Creates his armor to become Iron Man to defeat evil.
Yep.
Ah,
That basically lets us
That's
say it's a special take on the
weird.
origin story.
oh, you were
Right.
just asking for it.
Yeah. You know, now might be a good time to just lie down on the floor and pretend you're unconscious.
We.
You're lucky that's all that happened to you.
Yeah. Ton, I guess.
You will truly be mourned for movie upon movie.
Yeah, sadly, this character doesn't get remembered much.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it serves the purpose of exposing Tony to the thing that he's not used to, the death of someone that he had to care about, for better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Now it's personal. Yeah. Stop wasting bullets.
Yep.
We.
Burn, baby, burn.
In true Hollywood tradition, Hollywood doesn't know how flamethrower works.
And of course, he's taking good notice to make sure to burn anything that's his
his technology burns with it. Oh boy, the anti-tank rifle.
Mm-mm.
Oh no.
Well, shoot, that's actually putting a dent in it.
We. There you go. Best fireworks ever.
Lovely.
Yeah, still,
Not so
very
lovely.
rough as a prototype. We.
Thank God for the sand.
Ow. Yeah. It's always a guarantee, though. Keep in mind, it's like water. You're not, splashing on a morbid surface. Guess we could have done better.
Yeah.
So, boom.
But unfortunately, he has to leave the armor behind because, well, he's one man. What can he do? Don't worry, I'm sure the sands will take care of that.
Fortunately, yeah, he didn't even knew where he was, so
Yep.
any direction is fair game, I guess. Yay! Someone found him.
Just hope it's actually the persons you're hoping for.
Well, terrorists usually don't get the luxury of having helicopters.
Can never be too careful. But thankfully it is the United Armed Forces. And Rhodey!
Yay!
Not so fun in
Fuck you.
hindsight.
Yeah. Forgot, Jova, how long was Tony gone for this?
I think they specify later. Aww.
Oh. Oh, there you go, free mouse. Priorities.
Yeah.
Hey.
The prodigal son returns home.
Yep.
He's cleaned up rather well, all things considered.
And
Oh,
there you
good
go, Burger King product placement.
Did I mention that there were Burger King toys for this movie?
That doesn't surprise me. Huh.
Hi, Phil.
Yep. Agent Phil Coulson.
Ah, yeah, I like him. He's gonna be important later on. In more than one way. Let's just say,
Yeah.
folks, the MCU is not just a film series, it also has TV series tied into it. Something super secret, I'm guessing? Is it level 3 or level 5 or level 7? It's the perfect
Eat the
tactic.
cheeseburger.
Bring them right down to your level.
Oh. Yeah, I did a lot of things. Like Working with someone called Hank Pym, for example.
Yeah. Possibly having a run-in with that Hank Pym. There's also may have been this Project Goliath in the pipelines.
Hmm.
The Suicide Squad? How much you want to bet if this is the press conference Disney held when they announced buying all
there you go.
these?
He's going full Superman 4 on this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damage control! Probably something he has to do a lot.
We.
Went so well I have to smoke a cigar just to relax after it. Ironmongers. Funny,
Sounds like a catchy name.
Tio, doesn't Iron Man have a villain called Ironmonger?
Hmm.
You know, we could always just partner up with this Disney company and offer our arc reactor for making some super rides. So, of course, Stark Enterprises happens to have an arc reactor which could revolutionize alternate energy sources. But they apparently only made that to shut the hippies up. Dudes, if you went that far, how have you not put that into testing? It looks expensive enough.
Yeah. No, you're not.
Isn't it ready, aim, fire? Oh, wait, that's right, it's out of order.
Totally. Mad
Yeah.
money.
Abandon ship! Abandon ship!
That's an interesting way to make satire.
You know, you could have
You
took a
know,
good
he
cup of
does have
Joe
a...
with that mug. Just saying. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Tony needs to switch out his life preserver, and there's only one person he would trust with his life.
Yeah.
But Tony, wouldn't surgery help with that? Actually, I don't even know if I can call that hindsight, or him just being an idiot. 'Cause for a smart guy, Tony can be an idiot.
He seems like one of those people who makes life more complicated than it actually needs to be.
Precisely.
All right. No pressure, though, Pepper.
Yeah.
You are literally holding my life in your hands. No
Not
pressure.
only that, since he removed the previous one, he doesn't have a lot of time.
And also, if she ends up getting the wrong ends, it's like a game of Operation. It could be devastating. No pressure.
Actually, that's what I'm about to say, actually.
Come on. Yeah. I wonder how did they did this particular effect.
Well, I guess Pepper can say she spent her day inside of Tony. Usually it's the other way around. Oh.
You.
Just put the other one.
You're very calm about this.
Well, I guess being anything but calm would
Come
only
on,
make the cardiac
go
arrest
Pulp Fiction
worse.
style. Plug that son of a bitch in.
If he started panicking, she would panic even more, and that wouldn't help.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, we just gotta
Totally.
do this
Let's do
every
that
day for
again
the rest
some
of our
time.
lives.
Now go wash your hand. You should probably use gloves for this.
Who knows, the gloves may make the hand too thick.
True, but, you know, hygiene and shit.
Aww.
How can you say no to that face?
Irony!
Yeah.
In no way will this affect you later on.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Tell that to Al Jordan.
Give Amazon some time. They'll probably eventually replace the military. I mean, hey, they've already got drones for mailmen.
And yet they don't know what to do with their money.
I know, right?
Well, they needed what to do. They bought the double helix and did absolutely nothing with it. Seriously. Ugh.
You'd think they'd have bought Twitch. Or did they?
No.
Oh yeah, that's right. They were originally going to, but then they decided, nah, we don't want Twitch. We'll go Double Helix. I forget who Double Helix even are.
If they bought Twitch, the subscription service wouldn't be optional.
Yeah. Get your shit together.
That's basically what all the Iron Man movies can be boiled down to, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your crap together, Tony.
Is that Windings? Nope. Anyway, in case you're wondering, Jarvis is being voiced by Paul Bettany.
Huh.
Yep.
That name sounds familiar.
Let's just say he's gonna stick around.
Yep.
In ways that you don't know yet.
For context, in case you're wondering, Jova, Paul Bettany has starred For example, well, recently it was in Solo, a Star Wars movie.
Oh yeah.
But he was also in stuff like Inkart or Dogville.
Yep.
Or
There's the mask. Hey guys, I found the original Iron Man mask.
Lovely. This will make a
How much-
This will make a fortune at the next Comic-Con.
Hell yeah.
Basically, in case you don't wonder, Jarvis in the comics is basically Stark's personal butler, but he's a proper person, like a physical person. Here, it's been simplified to a standard AI.
It's to further differentiate Tony from Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings might as well bring that up. But that's the basic gist of it when you get right down to it. If there's a Bruce Wayne equivalent in Marvel Universe, it's definitely Tony.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, people compare Batman and Iron Man loads of times
All the
for
time,
obvious
yeah.
reasons.
Surprisingly enough, in the Amalgam verse, they were not the ones who combined.
Nope, they merged Batman with Wolverine, which was still awesome.
Yeah.
I think
All
my
right, test
fate...
footage.
Oh boy, here we go.
And yeah.
10%, okay.
Are you gonna bang on the ceiling?
It's just 10%. What could... Okay.
Top 10 pranks that went horribly wrong. Well, that's what testing is.
Absolutely. Ah, yes, the iconic Marvel tech holograms.
Yeah. In this case, preparing the potential arm of the suit with the one of the most iconic weapons of Iron Man, the repulsor blast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When it's out of the testing phase, maybe.
Ah. How nice. Piano product placement, that's new to me.
Oh boy, New York.
New York pizza, duh, that's...
Oh, no. New York pizza.
Look at that, I can already feel the oil going down from it.
Have you tried a New York pizza?
One of my friends did not went well. I guess, but to be fair, we picked a thin crust. We,
Oh
us
God,
Italians,
no, that's not how you do it.
we are more used to thin than thick.
Clearly, you should have come to taste one of my country's pizza.
Pedro, I will hunt you down for this.
See, okay, here's the thing to you. When you're from out of the country, you go with the thick crust. When you're from in the country, then you do the thin crust. Though if you go to Chicago, get the deep dish.
I like the stuffed crust because I'm trash, so...
You need some food education, lady.
But yeah, surprisingly, this movie does not take place in New York City. Yes,
Yep.
expect to see New
I'm
York
from the UK, our food education isn't great.
Basically, folks, expect New York to get mentioned a lot in MCU because, well, that's pretty much where most Marvel heroes circulate.
Yeah, basically, most Marvel stuff happens entirely in New York. There are
Yeah.
some variations, like, say, Philadelphia and stuff like that, but most of the time it's New York.
Basically, Marvel prefers to use real world cities, whereas DC prefers to use Gotham and
Fictional city.
Metropolis.
There are still some fictional locations in the Marvel universe, but again, the ratio is more stacked into real locations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all right, much better.
Stable.
Also, since Jova would have a better idea of this since he's brought it up before, does the MCU also treat New York like a shithole, or is it one of the few that doesn't?
Surprisingly not. I mean, New York is actually a nice optimistic place. Problem is that the living rate, it probably would be skyrocketing because of how much danger happens there. But
Yeah.
hey, all the same, it still is portrayed as a pretty neat place to live.
Unlike the rest of fiction.
Well, if I can give credit, Ghostbusters 2 showed that New York actually can be good when it actually
Oh.
gets to its best.
Not the car.
Oh,
You're ruining.
Why
so
are you
much stuff.
testing this in amongst your expensive cars?
because it's the most secret place he has.
Yeah. Also, Theo, come on. Our best pizza place is right next to Monica Bellucci's house. Come on.
Dag.
Oh boy.
No pratfalls.
Just a bunch of cars ruined forever. Oh. Alright, time to put some cover to it. There we go.
High-tech scanners, of course,
Also,
included in the
very
lens.
stock sound effects. Alright.
Of course, hydraulics, hyperthrusters.
The funny thing is that Batman Arkham Knight will give Batman armor, but has very similar capability when it comes to the armor moving a bit to adjust to the impact.
Efficient.
It's nice, but it's a bit too chromatic.
A bit too old school.
Yeah,
We need something a bit more colorful.
iconic. Yes.
Well, technically, the original design that we saw in the desert, that's iconic. It's just that
True.
it's just
Need
that
And
something bold.
we
Look, a shooting star going up. What? Oh my God! It's Halley's Comet.
quick throw avenues into it.
Lovely.
How long before the military tries to shoot him down?
As long as he stays in just the right angle of darkness, hopefully they should never catch on.
Hello. Poor kiddies.
And no one will ever believe them.
And that kid is not getting another ice cream.
Nope.
This is
Bit
just a
too
test,
high.
right?
I mean, it's just a test, Tony.
Just don't shoot for the moon. No, Tony! I meant that figuratively!
Yeah.
Also, here's a problem. Higher altitude has intense cold.
To be fair, though, Jova, in hindsight, considering Infinity War, it's a good thing that he tested like this.
Yeah.
So, what's worse than normally falling from high altitude? Falling while wearing a shit ton of, metal on top of you.
Yeah. Normally it's nice and protective, except for the big splat.
We.
Hey, I'm not
I'm
flying
walking here. To be fair, Jova, does California have a personal kind of accent? Or it's generic Southern?
Actually, it's a mixed match because Hollywood's there.
Oh, but not the piano and the car.
The piano is what's most upsetting.
Jarvis contacted Lee and contract them for 10 more Ferraris. I need to really make up for that.
We can't even play sad piano now.
Maybe, Jova, that's that Simpson, it's a crossover with that Simpson episode where we need to get the Lamborghini.
Yeah. Hey, who knows? Now that Disney is gonna own The Simpsons, it could be.
Let's see.
Oh, she
Aw.
kept it still.
Proof
in
that
case
Tony
you-
Stark has a heart.
In case you're wondering, the team that we're going for obviously is also the fact that Iron Man is some kind of parallel to the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz. So the whole thing of it is that he needs a heart.
I could
So,
if I only had a heart.
meanwhile, the Ten Rings are trying to remanufacture his original armor.
Yep.
I will recreate it and sell it on eBay for. Tony didn't think how much this would go for on eBay.
But hey, that's all fine. Let's take a look at Mark II.
Yeah. Yeah, you should probably.
Maybe also include a nice good cushion inside all that armor.
What even are you eating? Drinking?
Maybe a moolah. Oh! At the
Disney
Disney Concert
Concert
Hall.
Ironic.
I know, right? They actually paid Disney to have it going on there. I wonder if anyone told them the news.
Also, maybe it's one last minute change because the buyout was going on pretty much around this time.
It really is hard to imagine that there was a time when these movies weren't under Disney's banner. I mean, they technically still aren't, but come on, you know that they're owned by Disney now.
Yeah.
See, the reason they kept it a bit under wraps was because a lot of people thought that, oh no, Disney buying Marvel meant we're only gonna have more kid-friendly stuff, no violence.
Which, to be fair, keep in mind, it is true in some part. All these movies are relatively also still played safe.
One thing I
In
don't
fact,
get, though, did everyone
one of the
forget...
warnings people have is that the Fox buyout, the Deadpool movies, for example, will stop be R-rated. But again, it's a topic for another time, and I don't think it's gonna be a huge problem.
Okay, I could get maybe them fearing that it won't be R-rated, but people thought that it was gonna be kid-friendly when Disney bought Marvel, and I'm just
Yeah, I
saying...
remember that.
I'm
So
just
I
saying-
saw all the threads everywhere.
My point is this. People, did you forget that Disney owns Pirates of the Caribbean? Quite a violent series itself.
The third movie starts with a kid getting hanged.
And the third movie also has Davy Jones gouging a guy out through his nose and out his
Tentacle rape,
mouth.
yeah.
Not to mention they have a G-rated animated movie that has an entire song about an old man sexually wanting a gypsy.
Yep,
So-
it's
Hey,
still
Stan.
rated G. Hey,
Oh, hi,
Stan.
Stan. How you doing?
There we
First
go.
cameo of many. Well, before his cameo in Princess Diaries 2. That's somewhere in the canon.
He still cameoed in all 2003, didn't
Yeah.
he?
No, not just
Oh,
that.
that's right, he
He's
was
been
in
cameoing
that.
since the first X-Men.
Oh yeah, that's right. He
It was the
in
first
that.
X-Men movie, then the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. It was because Kevin Feige, even though Kevin Feige wasn't the creative head like of the Marvel movies at the time,
He was a
he was still involved in
consultant
some
at
way.
the time.
So
of
basically,
X-Men.
from what I can tell, and remember he was a consultant for the X-Men movies, including the first one. So my guess is it was Kevin Feige who came up with the whole
Potentially.
Stanley cameo thing, and of course he kept it going when he got in charge of the MCU.
Keep in mind that the Hulk movie also has Lou Ferrigno as a cameo. The
Yeah.
actor played Hulk in the old live-action TV series, and the Spider-Man Raimi movies have Bruce Campbell, which is one of Raimi's favorite actors to work with. So
It's kind of a shame they didn't
tied
bring.
to the source material in some kind of fashion is still there.
Yeah.
Not just that, but
And Lou
it-
Ferrigno
it-
technically does still have a place in MCU. He showed up in Incredible Hulk 2008 as well.
Yeah, that as well.
it's one of those.
Again, purposes.
It's a demonstration. It's probably very noticeable in the sense that, for example, even though Fox has been keeping the whole X-Men, the whole Stan Lee cameo thing for most of their movies, there have been some recent movies recently where they didn't have the Stan Lee cameo, like Fantastic and Logan. Logan
Yeah.
does have a justified reason, but Fantastic doesn't.
Oh,
Fantastic
this-
is just dumb.
I mean, I'll let it pass Logan, even though I can think of many ways they could have added a cameo, but I will let Logan pass considering the circumstances of that movie.
The way I would have done it is, you know how Logan takes place in this type of future. What they could
Have
what
him
they
show
could have
up in,
done,
like some old footage
yeah,
or
like
something.
an
a
old
banner,
magazine,
yeah.
an old magazine. That would have been a clever way to put it
The
in.
closest thing they do is actually reference the actual X-Men comics, so
Yeah.
maybe that.
Now, Fan Four Stick though, Fan Four Stick was a
No,
problem.
first thing is no excuse. No, I blame Josh Trank though.
Let me first skip.
Come on, Pepper. It doesn't always have to be active just because I'm your boss.
Yes, come on. It's not like you're the one who's going to fix me and turn me into a responsible man or anything.
Also, Pepper, you're calling that just ridiculous. I'm not the one who picked it out. Just saying. The sexual tension writes itself.
What's the James Brown catchphrase? Shaken, not steer, or it's the contrary.
Yeah, shaken, not stirred.
Why do you put them on in the glass?
Anyway, yes, basically, since we were talking about Stan Lee, you might as well. Iron Man was originally created by who was at the time writer and editor of Marvel, Stan Lee, with designed by artists Don Heck and Jack Kirby, of course.
Yeah.
So, and get used to me saying this over the course of these commentaries, everybody, because even though there were, of course, a lot of other great creators at Marvel over the course of the years since the 60s, for those who don't know, Stan Lee was already lead editor at Marvel at age 18. He joined Marvel when he was 16, and 2 years later, he was already lead editor. Yes, that's how much. So as you can probably guess, he was either the primary creator or actually had a hand in pretty much every Marvel superhero from that point on until, like, so basically all of the pillars of the Marvel universe. He's basically the guy that the primary guy we have to thank for all of it.
So we have a problem here. Despite what Tony
the terrorists
said,
still have Stark technology, and we managed to finally replicate the Jericho missiles.
And what's worse, this is right after he said that he was putting a stop to the weapons division, or rather, their entire business of weapons.
In fact, let me see if I can get...
Oh. Yeah, sure.
Of course you realize this means prevention of war.
Yes, of course. All right, I might as well also go into this, because it's always
Heart of Darkness, foreshadowing.
It's always fun. It's always fun to talk about Lee's motivations for creating said characters. So allow me. Oh, hold on. Actually, I think I'll wait till she raised.
Yeah. War is hell.
Yeah.
Thank you, Exposition TV.
Uh-huh.
Seriously, now you're just hammering it. Yeah, there you go. This is where he gets the idea where he can use the stabilizer as a weapon.
A non-lethal weapon.
Yeah.
Is sorta.
Again, the repulsor blast. Back in the day, the early days of the comics, Stark's thing were all about transistors instead. But obviously things changed around the time.
Nice
There
paint
you go,
job.
time to gear up.
Yeah, it takes a bit now, but don't worry. He'll refine the technology where it will be a lot faster to suit up.
To the
Yep.
point where this design almost looks crude by comparison.
Yeah. If there's a thing that's consistent with Iron Man, it's the evolution of the armors and their differentiation of them. This is the Mark III, I think.
Mark. Yeah, I believe this is Mark III.
There we go. And that's more akin to the
And there you
modern
go.
classic design.
That's-
Gold
that's the-
and red.
Yeah, the iconic design that is still used to this very day. Oh, hold on.
We
Oh.
Oh, so now we get subtitles for the Afghanistan language.
I guess better late than never.
Well,
Strange
before
that
we
it didn't
had
happen before now, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Might as well explain this because it's always nice. It's always really fun because there's always some really cool things about the motivations Lee always had for creating all of the Marvel superheroes. So here's the one for
Sure.
Iron Man.
Oh
Basically,
wait, hold on. We're actually about to get his debut scene.
All right.
yeah, I will not have romantic scenes here. Get the fuck out.
Kick the
Get
boy's
ready for-
father down and kick it right in front of him. That's how you get it done.
Just to think, 80 years from this point on, DC would do something like this, scene like this, similar to this in BVS, and make it absolutely god awful.
Yeah.
How nice.
Did somebody call for a hero, perhaps? Superhero landing.
Just to give you an idea, Shiroi, one of the more beloved Superman characters is Jimmy Olsen. He shows up for a moment in the movie and gets immediately killed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Great job.
Even
Great
though
job,
he
Zach.
was, if I recall correctly, a major enough character in Man of Steel.
Wait, did he
No,
show up in a Steel?
no, I
I could
don't
have
think
sworn he
so.
showed up in Man
Anyway,
of Steel.
select locking. Boop.
Courtesy of your friendly neighborhood Iron Man?
Yeah.
Yes.
Might as well since we don't own Spider-Man yet.
Yet.
There'll
In
be
fact-
some time
In
before
fact,
that.
believe it or not, there was actually a point in time when some people did think that they were going to replace Iron Man as the mascot of Marvel,
Yeah.
you know, as opposed to Spider-Man, because Iron Man also looks visually similar to Spider-Man. And trust me, that can go a long
Remember,
way.
Jova, this was also the Paramount still had a hand in the movies.
I do love that detail.
Yeah,
I do
he's
love the
all
detail
yours.
that he. Yeah, I do love that detail. He allows the people who have been suffering in his hand to literally just have at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, like I was saying, basically, Shiroi, it was all the way back in 1963. Yeah, Stanley is old.
Yep.
In 1963, Lee had been toying with the idea of a businessman superhero. He wanted to create the quintessential capitalist. Yep, that sounds about right. A character that would go against the spirit of the times and Marvel's readership, Lee said. That's Lee in a nutshell. Stan Lee always loved to just get on his desk and try to come up with something radically different than everything that's out there. Like that was basically what made him such a comic book god.
Oh yeah, Stan Lee was very good about
he was
that.
always pushing boundaries of what comic books could do.
Heck, we have him to thank for the first ever African-American superhero in comics, Black Panther.
This actually sounds like, because he also says something similar in his description of how, like, because he's always saying stuff like, "I was looking for something different. I was looking for something different. I created that's his modus operandi. What different thing can I do now?" But yeah, basically the government doesn't know what to make tails of things. How nice.
There you go. Basically, the military cannot identify, obviously, these new objects. Anyway, Jova, I did research and no, Jimmy Olsen appears only in Batman v Superman in that brief scene.
Huh.
All right, here's the actual quote from Stanley himself. I think I gave myself a dare. It was the height of the Cold War. The readers, young readers, there was one thing they hated was war. So I got a hero who represented that to the 100th degree. He was a weapons manufacturer. He was providing weapons for the army. He was rich. He was an industrialist. I thought it would be fun to take the kind of character that nobody would like, none of our readers would like, and shove him down their throats and make them like him. And he became very popular. Because that's just how awesome I am, because I'm Stan Lee.
That sounds about right.
And of course, Spider-Man, quite possibly his most popular creation, was literally just made to have something that teens could relate to. And lo and behold, that ended up being incredibly successful.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah.
It has to do
More
with
on that later.
well, Shiro, it has to do with Stan Lee's primary philosophy when it comes to creating a hero, which he said, and I'm quoting from his behind-the-scenes stuff in 2003, saying and this is from Stan Lee himself. The most important thing about a hero is the reader has to empathize with the hero. It has to care about the hero. So obviously, what's the procedure to make people at the time of the Cold War like Tony? Make him likable, like a somewhat kind of a playboy, like that kind of guy that we wish we could be.
That said, he does have some weird ideas. Like, basically, there's a series of comics, called "What If Stan Lee Made Insert DC Superhero Name Here?" Yeah, that's right. DC actually got Stan Lee to make his own takes on their superheroes. Some are better than others, to say the least.
Even Jack Kirby created some DC characters like Havandi.
Oh yeah, to the
or
point
the new
where
gods.
Yeah, fun fact actually, there's a funeral scene in the Superman animated series, and some Marvel characters created by Jack Kirby actually get to show up for that.
Do a barrel roll. What's the expression for? that ringtone.
Where did that even come from?
Well, that's the thing, Rose. It's not civilian equipment. At least not the typical kind of civilian equipment.
It's not really equipment so much as it's, say, a very fancy suit.
Did you say an Iron Man?
No, I think it's a metal man. Well, then again, I guess iron is a type of metal. Oh.
Or is it a plastic man?
That's the Marvel equivalent of. That looks like a bit. That's basically the Marvel equivalent of. Looks like a big turtle in a trench coat.
Yes, I do love Punch Out. Thank you.
Uh-oh.
But do you love Galaga, too?
Of course.
Well, darned.
It's funny because Catwoman had a scene similar to this at the Ferris wheel where all wrong, like a gajillion wrong things started happening at the same time.
I know, right? Actually, that thing accidentally took out an F-22.
Because of your own fault.
Go figure.
Great job, America.
You're welcome.
Yep.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Nah, they're the military. They're gonna be really stubborn about this.
Well, obviously, because we're military. We need to have this equipment for ourselves, so we can use it as a tool of war.
Don't worry.
Yeah, we need to blow shit up.
Don't worry. That's what Thunderbolt Ross is for.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
This'll be fun.
Nah, he's too busy trying to destroy the Hulk.
Damage control. that. Even as a chessboard.
Don't worry, everybody. We evacuated the whole desert.
Desert.
Technically, he's not
Yes,
lying.
every last cactus.
Oh yeah, and this might as well also address this now, since it's abundantly clear who the villain is at this point.
Oh, no. Let's save that for a special moment.
All right.
This is
Costume
just
party.
my hinky thing.
Oh,
True, I guess.
Yeah.
So much for secret
just-
identities.
not just that. What is that? No, it's not even just that. Too. Like, what could he be implying specifically? Maybe she caught him doing,
Oh,
Well, again,
there.
maybe he's into kinky stuff.
He probably is. Oh, would you look at that? Obadiah Stone was actually in cahoots with the people who kidnapped Toady.
Terrorist.
There you go.
Even in general, for the sake of
Basically,
selling them.
basically wants to kill Tony so he can have the company all to himself, so he become filthy rich and all that shit.
That-
And yeah, might as well address this now. For a long time, fortunately, in recent movies, they've been doing great strives to improve upon it.
Oh, no. Yeah.
With characters like Killmonger, Thanos, and all that stuff. But for a long time, the MCU's big Achilles heel was the villains.
And
Yeah.
Fortunately, in a few movies after this, we're gonna have Thor, where we have Loki, the first great villain of their catalog.
Captain America First Avenger with Red Skull.
Yeah, I like Red Skull. I thought Red Skull was fine. I mean, it was pretty much exactly what Red Skull would be. I mean, honestly, But aside from that, like, for the most part, yeah, the villains have always been the weakness because the villains are always just generic,
Allow me
greedy
to
guys
Pretty
who
much
have
something everyone can agree on.
Allow me to
That-
go down the
that-
list of what made, well, okay, I'm surprised it's actually not a trope, but allow me to bring down the trope of what makes a weak MCU villain. Either a person who does not show up in costume until near the end, either just a greedy person with little to no motivation, villain who
Yeah.
just happens to be a copy, an evil reflection of said hero, villain who doesn't even properly get the name, villain who isn't even really said villain, so why the heck are they even here? And so on and so forth. Trust me, Jeff Bridges is doing his best here, but oh man, oh man,
Oh boy,
man.
what the fuck? What's that?
The problem is that
Oh, this.
that's a cool gizmo, but not enough to make you an interesting character. Sorry.
I mean, I like Obadiah Stone. The problem is that his turn to this level of villainy, well, okay, I'll just wait till he actually becomes the villain. Because no, folks, yes, he's doing all this evil stuff, but he doesn't really become the villain with a true motive until near the end. And,
Yeah.
well, let's just say that's when it feels like the writers just went, wait,
So
we're supposed to have a villain?
unfortunately, this means that Obadiah is confiscating the Mark I for himself.
And
and he's
hey!
killing all the other terrorists.
Well, he killed terrorists.
Yay!
No more 10 rings. Of course, he wants a
Uh.
prototype now. Why? Profit?
Yeah.
That's what it always comes down to.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
it's a
there's
shame
gonna
they
be
don't really go into that motivation of his boast, but I'm getting
Yeah,
a
the
bit ahead of
sequel-
myself.
The sequel to this movie in particular is one of the worst examples to me because they introduce a villain where they show where you show the potential for that villain to become really interesting, and then they do nothing with it.
Like, seriously, he was
I
played
agree, but to me, Iron Man 3 is an even worse example for that specific reason, mind you.
I can see where you're coming from. I'll say this right now, though. Yeah, the Iron Man movies, while they are good, except for 2, screw 2, with an iron, rusty fork, I'll admit, the Iron Man movies tend to have the lesser luck when it comes to villains in, like, all 3 cases. Which is a shame, because I love Jeff Bridges, and, for the most part, he was doing just fine with the corporate douchebag and all, but when he tries to do the villain, we'll get to it.
And keep in
The worst
mind,
thing
outside of Mandarin, Iron Man actually has an interesting rogues gallery of villains to use. So,
Yeah, where's AIM?
or Grey Gargoyle at worst. Come on.
Or heck, even that explosive guy.
You mean the Russian guy? I forgot what he's called. Red Turbine or something. Whatever.
The worst thing about Iron Man 2 isn't even the villain, it's Tony himself.
Oh, but you're right. It's one of those typical "what if the hero really is the villain" stories.
It's just him moping for however long that movie is.
It's like they
It's like I
flanderized
said.
them
It's like I said before, Shuri. Iron Man 2 was just mainly meant to be a big commercial for Avengers.
I guess, but that still doesn't excuse it.
Oh
No.
no! It does not excuse it. In fact, if anything, that just
Sure.
makes it worse. If you ask me, because you could have had a good story and be a commercial. You didn't have to be just a commercial. And wouldn't it figure Iron Man 2 is the one movie that God, the girl who plays Fan Four Stick, Sue Storm.
I forgot her actress, but I get what you mean.
Yeah. That girl, she finally gets into the MCU after being in Zoom, Academy of Superheroes, and it's Iron Man 2. So, of course, her character wasn't really going to make it back.
So yeah, Pepper is apparently also a hacker.
Because of course she is. And we're still operating on 90s hacker logic. We just need to, slamming your hands on the keyboard. And
To be fair,
It's okay, Teo.
Is
Fortunately,
there
this
a movie that doesn't operate on that
Okay,
logic?
It's okay, Teo. Fortunately, this OS is the fastest OS in the entire universe.
yeah, look at that.
Okay.
Seriously.
To be fair,
What was that? It's at least 64 gigabytes
What
of
are you
RAM?
paying for that?
To be fair, but she's technically not hacking. She's just doing a bypass, which is actually more realistic in this sense.
True.
And it helps that it's on Obadiah's.
No,
Wow.
that's not what happens.
Wow, Marvel operating systems are so advanced that all you have to do to translate a video is type translate, and it will just translate.
I mean,
Why can't
That's
YouTube be this good?
Okay. To be fair, I guess we can assume that the terrorists probably were the ones who had it dubbed for the sake of Americans understanding it. And yeah, like I said, it helps. She wasn't really hacking because it's on his computer. She's just doing a little bit of a town.
Yes, I'm just gonna drink my booze like the cliche corporate douchebag that I am.
I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of the corporate douchebag villain anyway, so it doesn't
What
help
even is
anything.
that piece?
You know what's sad?
I bet it's some low quality bourbon.
I'll be quite honest. It kind of has a similar problem to Frozen.
Or whiskey.
Yeah, I'll say this. Movies like this have a similar problem to Frozen with their villains, right? To the point where, this guy was playing a reasonable partner to Tony for, like, the first third of the movie. Like, you have to wonder, would the movie have been better if this guy, while being a dick, actually turned out to not be the bad guy?
Well, the thing with Frozen is that they were trying to,
I know what they were trying to do, but...
You have to remember, Jova, in the original tale, basically Elsa is the villain.
Oh, no. Look, my main issue with Frozen's villain is just... My main issue with Frozen's villain is similar to this, but on a different scale, in the sake that the villainy kind of feels a bit weak and unearned.
It's the same problem of Atlantis when you get down to it, but again, we'll get to that.
I mean, I'd say he's tactful, but he's pretty small time, all things considered.
Despite the problem, it did at the very least add to the theme of Anna, Anna, having to learn what it actually means to love.
True.
So it did at the very least serve that purpose. I will give it that. However, they still could have made it more interesting despite that, and not.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to.
But yeah, back to this. So yeah, thankfully, just in time, she downloaded all she needed to and
Laugh
clicked
with
off
me,
of it.
Pepper. Ha ha ha.
So I'll just be taking that fast drive and being on my way, and hopefully not being hunted down like an animal. Uh-oh.
Tension.
Take care. Oh, sorry.
Seriously, you're still not threatening in the slightest.
At least shut the door before you evil laugh.
But I'm from Tron. I should be threatening.
That's a sad thing.
Oops.
You don't even have a hair to pull off.
Yeah.
Come on. You should have closed that window. Pepper.
Yeah.
Welcome
Shit,
to
I
Talk
forgot
With
to
Me.
close the
Don't
window.
worry, Coulson. This is probably the least of your problems right about now.
Oh, goody, I love this bit coming up.
Yep.
Yeah, this is actually a bit that's kind of
It
fun to
became a
watch and be
meme.
frustrated. Yeah.
That too.
Particularly using cases like Undertale, but we'll get to it.
Ahem.
Yeah.
Wait
Yep.
for it, wait for it.
Any big
Wait.
company with
God, that yeah. Like my fellow co-commentators have said, that's a perfect meme to watch whenever you're feeling frustrated.
not just that, it fits like a glove to any big company looking at a successful Kickstarter project.
Allow me, Shori. Pearl and Peridot built this in a barn with scraps.
Okay, what does that thing even do? Like, augment your pressure?
He says
he's
it.
about to explain.
He's about to explain, actually.
Turns out the government has standards with torture.
That face.
I'm sorry, Tony, but from this point on, I'm taking over the franchise.
Yes, that's right. I ordered the hit on you.
Oh no. You could have at least removed the shirt.
Nah, he prefers the direct approach. Also, no homo.
Yeah.
Oh, hindsight, my dear friend, hindsight.
There's a lot of that in this movie.
There really is. Well, that's how copyright kind of works.
Fair use, Jova?
I'll just use a line from Mr. Peterson from Seinfeld that he said to Elaine. Elaine, ideas are in the air. In the air.
Nothing personal.
So, Tony, was it good for you too?
No.
Still no homo.
Your Ninth Symphony, huh?
Yeah, I'm a piano
I forgot.
player,
I
Ode to
forgot.
Joy.
I forgot. Oh yeah, Ode to Joy. What was the Moonland Sonata then?
It was not a proper symphony.
Oh,
The
okay.
most famous ones are the 5th, the 6th, and the 9th. There are the others, obviously, but I don't remember the titles. The Moonlight Sonata stands on its own.
All right.
You know, if I could get a minute, could you actually mention what your motivation is? Because it just sounds like you're piling bits upon bits here.
He's
Tony.
making this shit up as he goes along.
Tony, don't you know? I want money.
But don't
We've
you
got
already
to
make
have
plenty?
money.
No.
Yes,
please.
but I want more for some reason.
Never enough.
Seriously,
Again,
like it doesn't even make any sense. Like he's already stinking rich. This doesn't really. What does he have? Like he risks a lot by doing all of this. What's the point?
Again, it's the same problem that the Atlantis villain has.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
okay, to be fair with the Atlantis villain, you could argue, okay, that was a priceless artifact, so maybe he also wanted some stuff on the side here. The problem with this, though, is that, again, his motivations kind of change on a dime. Like, hey, one minute he wants to control the company, next he wants to make his own Iron Man suit. So you think, oh, he wants to profit off of that, but then again, you have to wonder, he's clearly murdering Tony, and anyone who knows about that device will probably put two and two together. Never mind
See,
the
the way-
fact that, yeah,
see, the way
Tony's not
Hans-
exactly dead, so if you really wanted to kill him, why not just kill him?
See, the way the villain in Frozen was handled was also like this, but at the very least, it did serve the greater purpose of when it comes to one of the two main characters.
Yeah.
This, on the other hand, it serves no purpose at all. There's no real reason for this villain to be like this.
And don't worry, and look, the worst of the worst comes to when we get to a fight. Yeah, there's actually a proper fight scene in this movie.
Oh, come on. Pull.
And
pull.
wouldn't you know, it looks like it turns out holding on to the original did help out.
Well,
Well, this is only the first
That's-
movie in the franchise, so obviously he can't die here.
Yeah, sorry for anyone who's
Oh,
just
thanks,
starting off
Jarvis.
with the MCU here.
oh. And he accidentally cut himself with glass.
And now he has managed
Creating
to...
even more shrapnel.
And now he will make a
I will make a
smaller version of
bigger
the suit.
and I will.
With blackjack and hookers.
What exact? Jova, please remind me again. Why am I even creating this thing to begin with?
I thought at
There you
first
go.
it was...
That's the name that I forgot. Crimson Dynamo. There you go.
Seriously, why is he even bothering creating this thing? What's the purpose?
Again, I think
To one up Tony, I guess.
Yeah, here's the problem.
So it's
Tony's...
an ego thing.
Yeah, except Tony's kind of gonna be dead, so not like he'll be able to brag about it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So here's Rhodey to help, except
Oh,
Tony's
yeah.
already okay.
We're about to get.
Yes.
I mean, at least with the Red Skull, you get ego weaving hamming for the camera, which is always fun to
Oh no,
watch.
no.
Red Skull, yeah, he's just an angry Nazi. But at the very least, the plot gives a good explanation for why he is like this. He's just a cartoonish villain, one-dimensional villain.
Yeah.
That's
Seriously.
putting it kindly, because again, you know what's sad? Okay, he gets
Oh,
more.
which in hindsight, actually, Joval, I need to say this because.
Oh, this bit.
Coulson, you know, you're working. Well, it's a bit ahead
S.H.I.E.L.D.
of time. You're working for S.H.I.E.L.D. How about you using that agent that you're actually using right now that can phase through walls? You know.
Eh.
We haven't brought him. We don't know exactly if this franchise is gonna take off yet, too.
Yeah. Again, a lot of problems of retroactive continuity. Any time, Pepper? Yeah, let's just use a bit of stronger.
It's
Yep.
the same device used in Detroit in the network buildings thing.
A small plastic explosive, yeah.
Mhm.
All
That
right.
was just the wind.
Okay.
Aha, you're too late. I've managed to finish my suit for a purpose that I'm still not sure about.
And a suit that he's working on his own. You'll see what I mean.
Ah, Roddy.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not much else you could do, I guess.
Well,
Actually, no. Okay, time to address.
hindsight's a bitch.
Time to
isn't
address
it?
the elephant in the room, folks. As you may know, Terrence Howard did not show up after this movie. This
Yeah, and also another thing, in case you don't know, Roddy is basically the real identity of a supporting character of Iron Man called War Machine, which has a similar armor to Iron Man, which is more instead specialized with stuff like machine guns and everything. But go ahead, Jova.
Now, for those of you who noticed that Rhodey is played by a different guy because you're not stupid,
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle, and don't get me wrong, I love Don Cheadle. He is the better Rhodey, but what happened to Terrence Howard was bad. Also, I'll cover that a bit later because, yes, that's actually the suit, but Obadiah's not in it. Now, I want you to remember the scene where he said he wants them to make it smaller. Well,
Which
that's
also
an
begs the
interesting
question:
decision,
how
though.
was he able? If they were having trouble making it smaller, how did he manage to do that in such a short notice?
Oh, it gets even better.
Really? You did need the jump scare through chains?
He made it bigger.
Well, Theo, at least we're not doing the jump scare in the middle of frozen turkeys like in Heavy Rain.
Now, okay. Maybe when he said make it smaller, he was talking about the arc reactor because he got that idea.
Yeah.
But all the same, though, they were having trouble with the armor. How did he, on his own, put the finishing touches on an armor that is that freaking huge? That's gonna actually give Tony's current armor well, a hard time.
Yeah. However, for the sake of giving it credit, like the actual core of the story is still in great motion because
Oh, yeah.
I do love the fact that Tony, of course, now has a time limit, which of course further adds tension to the climax, and at the same time, the fact that he's using the backup that Pepper kept is, of course, a great payoff to.
Okay, that was funny. Your services are no longer required.
Also, yeah, again, of all the villains that you could choose as a starting villain, the Ironmonger, seriously.
Why don't you fill us in on the comics version, Tio? Because this
It's
version
bland
is...
and boring.
So just like this one.
So they made...
So at least they got it right.
Which is a shame because the MCU... This could have been a good chance to make him more interesting, like the MCU does with some villains.
Yeah, I actually kind of, for as much as I'm not a popular opinion, I actually kind of prefer Zemo in the MCU rather than his comics.
Like, I don't pretend that you want to start the movie with Think Fan Foom, all people, but something a bit more meaty would be nice.
This was one of the starting problems with MCU. It felt a bit lazy that a lot of villains were just evil versions of the heroes. And
yeah, Batman Begins... Sorry, go ahead.
Ironmonger is kind of visually bland. Now, granted,
God.
for the sake of scale and him being bigger than Tony, he definitely looks nice and menacing. But here's where I bring up the biggest problem with the villain, Obadiah Stone. Dude! Okay, so basically, the characters are saying he's gone crazy. And that's his motivation. He just wants to blow stuff up now because, okay,
I guess now he's drunk in powers or something.
I mean, Batman Begins didn't immediately throw the Joker in, but it still brought in the League of Shadows, which is pretty cool. They're not top tier Batman villains, but they're still pretty good in their own right.
Wait. I'm sorry. Nothing is gonna stand in my way. Your way of what? I thought you wanted to just prosper in the business industry. Now, oh, hi, Roxanne.
He's having a bit of a mood swing.
Especially considering how Liam Neeson did such a great job playing Ra's al Ghul anyway.
Yeah.
Also, that's neat having the Roxxon Industries building in the background.
Yep.
But yeah, still though. Oh yeah, he made upgrades of his own. Maybe it would have been nice to see more scenes of these stuff actually going well.
Not just that, Jova. I say to that line what I said to the dual lightsaber that Darth Maul has. So are those upgrades supposed to make up for the fact that you don't have an interesting character? I guess, yeah.
I mean, again, so is his plan now to rule the world? Because clearly I don't think he's going to be let back into the business industry after this little tirade.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of effectively screwed himself over, really.
I mean, okay, maybe if it were more discreet and, like, the authorities didn't know what he was up to, he could maybe argue that he's just trying to kill Tony so that his secret will be saved. But nope. Again, his motivations changed on a dime and not in the good way. It's not even a fun way of seeing him have sanity slippage because
I do like how he gets defeated, though. Tony, this is a very clever idea on part of Tony.
Oh yeah.
What happened before.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually do like this fight scene between them. I mean, despite them having...
It's a bit too short, honestly. It's not much really... Like, there's not that much... Because it's so short, they don't really do that much.
Oh, this bit.
Yeah. Bonk.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, I definitely still acknowledge that the fight scene is way too short, and the fact that there's only one proper fight scene doesn't help. What I do like, though, is the action that does happen, which just makes me wish we had more. In fact, did we really need to waste this much time on Obadiah being a jerk, and when we could have had more of him in the Ironmonger suit trying to test it out? Like, hey, maybe have a scene of him trying the Ironmonger suit out, but then realizing that he needs the arc reactor for it to work properly.
I think the best way to explain it is that this movie tried to do something similar to what Batman Begins did and later Doctor Strange would do. Instance that we have the first half, the entire first half is, or rather like maybe like the first third, maybe not necessarily the whole half, where we have a lot of build-up. We establish the character. We spend a lot of time on the origin story for the sake of fleshing out the character because, well, that's the most important thing, obviously. And then when we get to the second part of the movie where we're supposed to see the character finally fighting crime or at least fighting a big supervillain. In the case of Iron Man, it kind of doesn't really pay off so much because the villain is just so uninteresting and such
By the way,
such cannon fodder of a villain. But go ahead too.
Jova, have you played the game based on this?
No, not yet.
Me neither, so I don't know actually.
I think
how it is
Dark Lord
like.
Shadow 1 made a review of it.
But
I'll
it's
have to
the
check
Wii
it out.
version. From what I heard, the HD version is different.
Oh, really? Mm.
That's a thing that happened with a lot of Marvel games for this particular period. The Wii versions were kind of different from the PS3, Xbox 360, and PC version. Prize.
So anyway, let's go back to talking about Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard kind of got the shaft big time. Now, he was asking for a bit of a higher salary, but the real reason he got fired was because of a guy named Ike Perlmutter, who had at the time the most shares at Disney. He was affiliated with Marvel. Ike Perlmutter is one of Marvel's head businessmen. Basically, he's a guy who's okayed a lot of stupid stuff. He okayed Civil War. He okayed One More Day. He made the Inhumans MCU series.
Hold on, he's deeply enjoying the suit. Okay, so is this your motivation? You just wanted a suit of your own? Like, is that it?
Does this go back to what was said in the interview at the beginning of the movie? You just got to make sure your stick's bigger than the other guys.
Apparently.
This entire movie is based around that one line.
That entire movie is a dick context.
Yeah,
that's what this is.
This is a Hollywood budget dick measuring contest.
Exactly.
And yet we still love it despite its faults.
No,
Yeah,
the movie has problems, but the good stuff far outweighs the bad, fortunately.
Okay, I'll give it credit though. This being like the very first MCU film does it doesn't excuse it, but
It's more understandable.
Yeah.
Considering it was the first one,
The
it's
problem was that
understandable
they
it wouldn't be
repeated-
perfect right off the bat.
The issue is that they repeated this problem with MCU villains a little too much.
I mean, Doctor Strange, like I said, Doctor Strange has a very similar structure to this movie. Doctor Strange also had the lackluster villain, the human one at least. The supernatural one was more cooler because of the way Doctor Strange interacts with it.
Yeah.
But the human villain, well, not technically not human, but
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
The point
yeah,
is,
He's
human
human,
one.
don't worry. But
well,
go on.
the human villain was just generic
Yeah.
villain who's I mean, they do kind of
They
have that
tried
thing where
to
he
have an
feels like
interesting backstory.
yeah, they try to have that thing where he feels that that she betrayed him, but they don't really go into depth with that, so it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme.
Oh, look at that. An
there
Iron
you
Man
go.
villain defeated
Oh,
by...
and look at that! A portal into the sky! I'm betting you will never see this in a superhero movie ever again. I assure you.
Also, he gets defeated by mass electricity. Irony.
But yeah, like
Literal.
Doctor Strange's human villain was also lackluster, but fortunately it worked much better because the villain wasn't really that focused much upon anyway. In here, the villain is a big part of the last third of the movie, so it becomes way harder to ignore.
I put it on a scale. The closer we get to this guy becoming a villain in this movie, the more boring he becomes. Because when the movie started out, imagine that actually. Someone who worked with the protagonist's father but isn't trying to abuse the company. That was actually, not a cliche. But then, of course, it
Refreshing,
becomes the cliche of, oh, he actually worked with the terrorists to have Tony killed. And then it's like, okay, cliche town. And then by the time he becomes a villain, yeah. Also, cover up. Mr. Rhodes, is there any comment on your changes for plastic surgery in the near future? Yeah, okay. Ike Perlmutter thought that nobody would recognize the difference between Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle because they were both black.
Charming.
The only reason that really passed was back then is because he had a lot of pull. Way more than he does now. In fact, would you believe it or not, he was actually holding the Captain Marvel movie captive unless he was allowed to make an Inhuman show. Of course, eventually Kevin Feige managed to overturn the Scales of Power, so he had to rush out his Inhuman show. And ironically, now the Inhumans may be dying because the X-Men are coming back.
Anyway, again, just to conclude the movie, we need to, cover up with a proper press conference.
However, let's just say it's not gonna go as planned.
90 seconds.
All right, and now, Pepper, one more talk, please. Oh, right.
Oh, don't worry. It's not the last time we'll see. Yeah.
You'll be hearing from us.
Just call us Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Planting the seeds, are you, Kevin?
Mind you, Tia, do you keep up with the Shield TV series?
No, I kind of stopped at the moment because I have not because I stopped liking the show, but because I have a lot of other things to look at.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one.
I did watch it, but I just don't really care.
I liked the way they integrated Ghost Rider, but I wish he was more prevalent. Noodle accidents.
Oops.
Let's not focus on the bad stuff.
He's such a romantic, isn't he?
Let's not focus on the bad stuff, should we, honey? So yeah, like someone was just saying, if I'm going to become a responsible superhero, maybe I should have a girlfriend who supports me and is a wreck because she's worried about me.
Iron Man 3. Imagine superheroes.
Yeah. Well, my older self wasn't. However, my newer self. Yeah, just stick to the fucking cards, dude.
Boo!
You are so
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
get sued.
You had one job, Tony.
Hey, maybe that was.
I think he ran out of fucks to give by that point, honestly.
Some people theorize that.
Now,
I have to
Java,
wonder.
remind me again, how long did it for the actual comics for Tony to actually, renounce to his secret identity?
God, it's
It was
honestly.
My
way
guess-
before the Registration Act, obviously.
It
so-
was. My guess is till Kevin wanted
to
one
speed
thing.
things up, yeah.
Not just that, but I actually kind of appreciate this change. It further differentiates him from other superheroes in the sense that most superheroes keep the whole secret identity thing. But if there's one superhero out there who wouldn't give a fuck about protecting his superhero identity, it would be Tony. So honestly, it kind of adds to the character, if you ask me.
The ironic thing, though, is that nowadays in Marvel Comics, most superheroes don't really do the whole secret identity thing. Like, Captain America doesn't do the secret identity thing. She-Hulk don't do the secret identity thing.
No, the Captain never really. I mean, there was never even any reason for him to.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's kind of lampshaded in the Marvel Comics at this point. The only superhero who really still runs with the secret identity is Spider-Man. Well, I mean, it kind of goes with the territory. Like, the Fantastic Four,
Well, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. That's not even close to being one of the worst things about current Captain America. But even that, they're getting wrong. Really, Jesus.
I mean,
Christ.
okay, to be fair, when we analyze it, though, I mean, what superhero in the Marvel Universe, and I'm talking about, like, the big name ones, aside
Spider-Man.
from Spider-Man. Yeah. That's like I said, Spider-Man's really the only hero who's still sticking with the secret identity.
Well.
Of the big names, Jova.
Well.
Maybe the heroes for hire.
Bruce Banner doesn't go around telling everybody that he's the Hulk.
Oh, well, okay. Bruce Banner is technically dead at this point in the comics.
Yeah.
I was mainly talking about... You know what? I don't blame you for not knowing that. What I mean is, like...
I don't like current Marvel comics. And I kind of stopped reading comics a long time, and from what I've heard of current Marvel comics, I'm glad I did.
But I will say that it's better if you understand what's going on to understand why is it specifically bad.
Sure.
It's painful, yes, but it's enlightening, I guess.
Yeah, I'll give him this. Like, well, most superheroes not running with the secret identity thing does make sense in context in Marvel Comics. Like, I complain about a lot about Marvel Comics. I won't really complain about that, though. Though it does lead to some funny scenes where people.
Well,
wonder
regardless
why
of though,
Peter Marvis
that was
would-
Iron Man. So,
Oh.
final thoughts?
Wait, we're not quite done yet, though. That's right, folks. We're
True,
staying
but we still
till-
have like 5
Yeah,
minutes till the
let's
after
just
credits.
start
scene.
with
All
the
right,
final
I'll
thoughts.
go first then. I definitely
Go
love
ahead.
this movie. It's nowhere close to my favorite MCU film because it has quite a few issues. Like, okay, the comedy is great, but the villain, that is my biggest problem. The villain. Like, okay, first it was the Ten Rings, then they get killed off. So then it's Obadiah Stone, who seemed friendly enough, but now he's actually a jerk. Go figure. More at 10, 411. The point being is, like, well, the more he becomes a villain, the more boring he becomes. Like, even his one-liners, except for that one, your services are no longer required, are kind of lame, sadly. Now, on to the positives. The music is great. The storytelling, for the most part, is good. I'm not going to say it's amazing yet, but it's definitely a good startup territory. I do like the writings of the relationships between Tony and his friends. That's good. I do like how, as any good story should go, it caps us off, but also does leave room open for a continuation, in more ways than one. The set design is very well crafted, the designs are nice and to the point, and it's something that fans of Iron Man, old, new, veteran, or newbie can all enjoy, I do believe. Again, except for the villain, man. Although, I have to wonder if Ironmonger fans... if there even really were that many Ironmonger fans.
No. I can tell you, Jova, there were more Rhino fans for Amazing Spider-Man 2 than were Ironmonger fans for this.
Ouch. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'll be very honest. I didn't even really recognize Ironmonger until this movie. I forgot about him. That just goes to show, though. This was definitely before they ironed out some kinks. Some of which kinks are still there, if you may argue such, but I digress, though. Overall, a good movie and good startup to the MCU.
Alright, I'll go next, I guess. Yeah, pretty much what has been said. I enjoy this movie for what it is, a good origin story and the thing to, have the character of Tony Stark be popular and Iron Man be popular again. But I also give him the fact that the villain is clearly the weakest part of it. It just feels tacked on, like you didn't really need it. The conflict with the terrorist was quite enough on its own. And it's also a good demonstration at first of the Mark II or 3 powers, where he basically confronts the terrorists with the Jericho missiles. So attaching Ironmonger to this just felt unnecessary for the sake of having a villain, because, well, our superhero movies did have. It's kind of a smaller scale of a problem that Spider-Man 3 had, just adding stuff to already existing storylines and kind of botching them as a result. But again, the movie in this case doesn't suffer from this
Too much, at least.
Yeah,
It
it's
suffers a
serviceable on
bit,
its
but
own
not
and
too
a good
much.
start that you need. Obviously, like I also hinted, there are some problems of backward continuity that will be tied to question asked in future. But again, if you're a fan of, for example, Pokemon, you should be totally fine with this kind of thing. So.
It's not like it puts a dent in it that much anyway, so...
No. If anything, it just makes us question for the movies that establish these supposed elements that were in play also in the past.
I'm just gonna
but
say
to
this
be
right
fair-
now. Thank
But,
God
but
they
again,
didn't
to
go.
be fair,
Oh, I'm
for a
sorry.
lot of things that the Marvel Cinematic Universe established that happened in the past, the continuity is mostly strict. It's just like those one or two elements that makes you ask, wait, so does that mean that... Also, Skywalker sound, the
Yeah.
Lucasfilm was involved in this.
Yeah, so Skywalker
Foreshadowing
sound does
something.
the sound stuff for a shit ton of films from very.
Oh, and look at that. Hans
Just like
Zimmer was the
Industrial Light and
executive
Magic does
music
the
producer.
effects, for all the things.
Hans Zimmer is a producer of scores for a shit ton of movies as well. Like again, for example, Lauren Boff was also
There
involved.
you go. Look at the.
Oh, hey,
these-
Brian Johnson.
Talk
Haven't
about a
s-
movie that actually uses decent pre-existing song.
Oh, wait,
in
they
it.
did have Iron Man from the theme of the animated series? When?
I did not.
Unless they used the very
recognize.
first Iron Man animated series theme. You know, the less iconic one.
I don't know, honestly. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Enjoyable movie. Maybe has a couple of sad things, but it's a good start of this shared universe.
All right.
Filmed in the
That's just a
United
feint.
States
That's
of
just
America.
that's just a feint, Jova. I'm still waiting for a Hulk movie that has the '60s Hulk theme.
Maybe.
Anyway,
Now, I admittedly missed out on this because I didn't know about behind the scenes credits.
Well, yeah. Oh boy.
Huh.
mm, mm.
Why do I get the feeling this is the talk Disney gives to
Hey,
every new...
Samuel.
Actually, Jova,
Oh, snap. Yeah, believe it or not, this actually caused ripple waves across the world with those few lines.
Honestly, Jova, if you allow me, that analogy you just made, I actually think a better analogy would be John Favreau is then, all right, so Iron Man, this should, and Robert Downey is like, all right, sure, I'll make 2 more movies and I'm done. And then Kevin Feige is like, no, Robert, you've just become part of something much bigger.
Oh, yeah.
You're here forever.
And Robert Downey Jr. responded asking for his paycheck to be bigger, which had repercussions in both Avengers and Age of Ultron, but we'll get to that.
Oh, boy. But yes, that was the
Anyway,
start of the
who's
MCU
next?
and Shiroi.
Me.
Oh, wait. Yeah,
Oh,
keep going,
alright.
Pedro.
Well,
Wait, did
well,
you go?
did you already give your final thoughts, Shiri?
No,
Me
Okay,
neither.
go on, then, whichever one of you.
Pedro.
All right. No, it's still a lot of fun. Like, and the overall core and heart of the story still really work. I love Tony. The way he's characterized is pretty much spot on. Same for Pepper. She's a great. Her interactions with Tony are always great. And the overall sense of humor that Marvel is known for is already present here. And it's a really enjoyable, really fun movie that has its fair amount of heart as well. So that it works really well as a good first movie. The problems with the villain have already been addressed, so I won't repeat it. I will just say, what were you even thinking? What was your long-term goal, you dipshit?
It always boggles my mind. Like, even as a kid, I wondered, what exactly is the bad man's idea? Yeah, I called bad guys bad men back in the day, but the point being, like, were you going crazy all along? Like, how did you even build that suit when clearly...
At least when the Joker did this, he flat out admitted it. I'm just a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what I'd do if I caught one. I just do things. Not to mention the Joker is supposed to be a metaphor for anarchy and chaos, so that's kind of supposed to be the point anyway. Where with Ironmonger, no, sorry, you don't. This is not the kind of thing that works for this kind of villain. Anyway, aside from that, yeah, it's a really fun romp and it's still a lot of fun. Really, really fun and good. Go ahead, Shiri.
This was a lot of fun. A good introduction to, what would later be 10 years. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think everyone else has said.
The beginning of the most successful film franchise of all time.
Yes. The only thing I will add is, since Jova, obviously brought up the whole trend of end sequences, this whole trend has made people very paranoid. So I don't know if this happened to any of you guys when you went to see the movie, but after The Incredibles finished, most people stayed because they were paranoid because of all this stuff.
Yeah, and there technically was something that came after the credits, though. It wasn't
what people expected.
Did you stay for it too?
Everyone was very paranoid, so I thought if everyone else is, we should too.
Oh, don't worry, sure. MCU, the Marvels themselves have caught on to this. If the post-credit scene of Spider-Man: Homecoming, and most recently Ant-Man and the Wasp,
it's a very simple rule. When you watch a Marvel movie, always stay till the very last second of it.
Just pray to God you don't get trolled because they do that nowadays a bit.
Oh no, the Homecoming one is
And then there was
brilliant.
but
That's my
Brilliant.
favorite one.
But then there was Ant-Man and the Wasp, which maybe took the trolling a bit too hard.
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed that, honestly.
No,
wait, were you talking about the mid one or the final one?
The final.
The final.
The
one.
final one was weak. Yeah, I will give you that. I love Man and the Wasp, but I will give you that. Yeah, the last scene after the credits, yeah, that was weak.
Without spoiling, if you've seen the trailer, you saw that post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately, it's just a little after credit scene anyway, so it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But anyway, back to this. Anything else, Shiri?
No, that's it.
All right, so tune in next time when we do Hulk.
Hulk 2008.
Don't worry, it'll be a
2008.
fun little talk about how not to let a prima donna take over your script.
It's the other extreme, people. Yes, we don't want the 2000 something like the 2003 movie, but that doesn't mean we need to go to the other opposite extreme. We want a middle term between the two, if that's okay. All you was.
Tune in for
Yes.
Incredible Hulk 2008.
See ya.
So yeah.